If you are at home, make sure you turn to 8-6 in the note packet, factoring ax squared plus bx plus c. We're going to focus on when that coefficient in front of the x squared is greater than 1 today. So you're going to want to write these notes down so that they go with the examples. Okay, so on the first example, I'm going to show you what this means by using the notes here. Oh, yeah, I can't do it again. So it says, what is the factored form of 5x squared plus 11x plus 2? And so you can easily see, right, that there is a number in front of that x squared that's not a 1. And the first thing you want to do is look for a GCF. So between 5x squared, 11x, and 2, is there a GCF? There's not. So that's why it says if possible, okay? Because a lot of times it's not. So if not, you have to go to number 2, which sounds kind of crazy, but I'll show you what I mean. So we're going to split this middle term right here, 11x, into 2 terms. The 2 terms have to multiply to get a times c. So in this case, a times c would be 5 times 2. So the 2 terms have to multiply to get 10, but they have to add to get b, which is 11. So we need them to multiply to get 10 and add to get 11. Okay, so 2 terms is what we need. Alvin, what are the 2 terms? So we're going to use positive 1 and positive 10 for our terms. Now, we identify them, and what we're going to end up doing is we're going to split this polynomial up now. We're going to make this middle term into these 2. So we're actually going to make it from a trinomial to a 4-term polynomial, okay? So we're going to make it say 5x squared plus, and you can do 1 or 10 here. I'm going to pick the 1x plus 10x, those are those 2 terms, because that's the same as 11x, right? 1x plus 10x, plus 2. So now you should have 4 terms. And so you're really just rewriting this. It is the same thing. It's equivalent so that you can now factor it. And here's what you do. So now we're on step 3. Split your polynomial into 2 sections and factor the GCF out of each section. So what I mean by that is we're going to split this guy down the middle, basically. All right? So I'm going to factor out the greatest common factor of 5x squared and 1x. What would be the greatest common factor there?
1.
What else? 1x, okay? So this is going to, if I factor that out, remember, that means I'm putting parentheses back in. So I'm really dividing each of these terms now by 1x. So 5x squared divided by 1x is what, Xavier?
5 squared.
No, just 5x, okay? Because 5 divided by 1 is 5, and then x squared taking out an x divided by x to the 1 is x. What's 1x divided by 1x?
1.
Just 1. So that's this side, factored out. Then we're going to do the same to the other side. What is the GCF on this side of 10x and 2? 2. So I'm going to take 2 out, and I am going to put parentheses back in. So 10x divided by 2 is what? 5x. What's 2 divided by 2? Okay, so first thing that is whether to check whether or not you're doing this right. You should always end up with the same thing in both sets of parentheses here. We had 5x plus 1 and 5x plus 1. So that's a check, yes, we're doing it right. Now the last thing is you want to rewrite this as a product of 2 binomials, and here's how you do it. Since these are both being multiplied by the same values, we can actually put 1x plus 2 in the first binomial from the outsides, those GCFs, and then we can put 5x plus 1 in the second set. This is the final factored form. Okay? And how would you check it?
Use the box
That's right. Use the box method. So just to show you how to check it here, right? If I were to do this, 1x plus 2 by 5x plus 1, oops, then I should end up with this original one. So 5x times 1x is 5x squared. That's good. We need that, right? 5x times 2 is 10x. 1 times 1x is 1x. And then 1 times 2 is 2. If I add the diagonal like terms here, what do I get? So I ended up with 5x squared plus 11x plus 2. Bam, we did it. Okay? Woo, right? It's kind of a lot for your brain. Let's do it again. It takes practice, okay? And that's why you want to make sure at first you go down your list of your checklist, basically. You're making yourself a checklist of, did I do this? Did I do this? Did I do this? And eventually it becomes more natural. All right, let's go again. So starting here, what is the factored form of 3x squared plus 4x minus 15? Okay, so step 1, factor out a GCF if possible. Is there a GCF? No. And so we're kind of going to get to that a little bit later. This is just the beginning, okay? But there's not. So we're going to go to number 2. Split the middle term into numbers that multiply to get AC and add to get B. Okay, so what's AC's value? 3 times negative 15. Negative 45, okay? So our factors that we choose have to multiply to get negative 45. What do they have to add to get?
4.
They have to add to get 4, okay? So we are looking for numbers that multiply to get negative 45 and add to get 4, okay? So let's think about this for a second. What two numbers multiply to get negative 45 and add to get 4? Rebecca. That's right, negative 9. So our factors are going to be negative 9 and positive 5.
It's negative 5.
Oh, sorry, positive 9, negative 5. Thank you. Okay, so now we've got that. Now we're going to so now we're into split the polynomial into 2 sections and factor the GCF. Okay, so the first term, do I do anything with the 3x squared or do I keep it?
Keep it.
Keep it. The first term stays the same. The middle term now is where I split it up, wasn't it? So what should I write now? Instead of 4x, what do I write? Go, Xavier, what do I write?
You write one of the numbers.
I write, yep, so I'm going to say plus 9x, then what? Minus 5x. Do I change the last term at all? Nope, I leave that minus 15. So now my trinomial should be a polynomial with 4 terms. Okay, so check, that's good. Now we need to, it says, split it into 2 sections and factor the GCF out of each. So we're going to split it right down the middle. And don't forget that that minus sign goes with the 5 when we split it. So who can tell me the greatest common factor of my left side of my 3x squared plus 9x? What is it going to be? Emin, go ahead.
3x.
So who can tell me what's left in the parentheses if I factor out a 3x? LSC, go.
3x plus 9.
Not plus 9. Your 9x divided by 3 is what?
Oh, never mind, 3.
Plus 3. And the x comes out, okay?
So that's 5.
Yep, that's okay. Who can tell me the greatest common factor of the right side now of my negative 5x minus 15? Nathaniel, go.
Negative 5.
Okay. And some of you are probably wondering, could it be positive 5 though?
Yeah.
It could be, but watch. Remember, the rule is that this one inside the parentheses has to match this one inside the parentheses, right? So if I divide this first one by negative 5, what do I get?
Yeah, shouldn't the first one just
Yeah,
be
1 of the 3.
1?
Oh, yep, sorry, thank you. Ooh, we're making lots of mistakes on this one, aren't we? I was thinking of the 9. So this should be a 1x. That's a nice fat 1. Sorry. That's a 1x. 3x squared divided by 3x is 1x. Okay, so now, if we divide negative 5x by negative 5, what do we get?
1x.
Positive 1x. If we had decided to do a positive 5 and it didn't match, right? Then we know, oh, we got to switch it to the negative. Okay, what's negative 15 divided by negative 5?
Positive 3.
And it matches now. That's what we want. Is that the answer? It is not, okay? Who can tell me the answer now? The final factored form should look like what? Alvin, go ahead.
3x minus 5, 1x plus 3.
3x minus 5 in parentheses, and then 1x plus 3 in parentheses. That's the answer. This is the final factored form. Okay, so for sake of the video, hopefully we find that helpful. If you have questions, make sure you call or email, or not call probably, just email me and I'll get back to you as soon as possible.